Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to another episode of the Social Work Rants podcast. Hope everybody's doing well wherever and however you're listening to the podcast. We got the Godfather in the building, or the Godfather of social work podcasting. But before we get into that, uh, thank you everybody for following the podcast, supporting the podcast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on the YouTube. The YouTube's a work in progress, but it's up there. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we're gonna get this rolling going into 2022. So it's Thanksgiving week, Thanksgiving weekend. I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving in America. So for all my international followers, it's Thanksgiving week here in America. So hope everybody has a good, safe, happy holiday. And shout out to everybody whose holidays were not the best time of year for. So we wish you all the best and get through any tough times you might be going through. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at the Social Work Rants Podcast. That's all one word. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Social Work Rants, all one word. Hit the like button on Facebook, type in the Social Work Rants podcast, hit the like button. Obviously, follow the podcast on YouTube. Just type in the Social Work Rants podcast, hit the red subscribe button. Now, this is pretty much a whole 2021 calendar year in the making. This gentleman right here, the Godfather of social work podcasting, Mr. Christopher Scott. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm just enjoying this time off.
I hear that. And I purposely, I wanted to have you on for a while, but purposely, since I know you work in as a social worker in the school, at least one of your many duties in this work. So I work as a school social worker, and I know for me it's been absolutely insane. And then having some more more news that's gonna mess me up that I got yesterday. So it's like it's been a crazy time. I wanted to hear your how are things going with you so far, and then everything else you got going on. So let for people who don't know who you are, let everybody know who you are and what you do in our wonderful field of social work.
Yes, sir. So thanks for having me on. My name is Christopher Scott, and I am a social worker out in Portland, Oregon. Hopefully soon be LCSW, on that grind, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I've had many jobs in social work. This is my third job with a school, but like my first job as an official school social worker. So I like that I don't really have to provide the services that I see the students need, you know what I'm saying? Because that can be a little overwhelming, like doing therapy every day or doing groups every day, stuff like that, So I kind of like the role that I am in, like being like the service person, the dot connector, the liaison. I like that a lot. But yeah, like Bass said, I had a podcast, or I still have a podcast, that I released by 2018 called the Hip Hop Social Worker Podcast, and I just would interview different, social workers from around the county, around the country, not the county, and just to kind of see what social work was like in their field, in their area, how they got into social work, and it's that helped me connect with other social workers, you know what I'm saying? So like I met, just other social workers through Instagram, because of my podcast. Now I see, saying like my guy Bass and my guy James and Trey and other social work podcasters out here just getting their voice heard. And that was really the biggest thing I wanted was to kind of, show people that, hey, you don't really have to be at a desk all day to do social work. You know what I'm saying? There's different ways to do it. So yeah, that's what I did. So yeah, I'm online a lot. I'm on Twitter a lot, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I talk about social work, sometimes I talk about other stuff, but sports a lot. I know Bass like to gives me a hard time about being a Blazer fan, but this is where I'm from, you know what I'm saying? This is how I roll. I'm gonna do it till, I'm gonna do it until I can't do it no more, you know what I'm saying? And I know the Ducks just caught that L, but guess what though? This was a blessing in disguise because we was gonna go to Alabama and get taxed this is better. We lost. We no longer in the in the running for the the CFB. So now we can chill at a smaller bowl game. You know what I'm saying? Work at work the angle. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna leave that alone because
Hey, I'm all about vulnerability. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I hear that. It's sometimes we do our trauma through through sports as well.
Right.
So.
For sure. Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm grateful to be here talking about school social work in my area. Man, it's different. It's different depending on who you talk to. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully I got the right answers. Hopefully I got what you're looking for. But once we get into it, my school's a little different from the typical school in Portland, in the Portland area.
Gotcha. So let's get right into that. What makes it different? How is it from September? I'm already counting down the days to like, okay, we got like 6 months left of the school year.
Right. Yeah.
So how's it been so far?
So now my school is what you call IB high school. You know what I'm saying? So like
what is that?
So it's international baccalaureate or something like international baccalaureate, something like that. It's like so some schools have AP classes, some schools have IB classes, right? We're like a school based on like IB curriculum, like advanced curriculum. Kids come to that school because they want that challenge, right? And it's like a school of where kids want to be known for their academics, right? So we don't have like a lot of acting out per se, you know what I'm saying, with like kids fighting, kids in class, like cutting up, stuff like that. We do have a lot of avoidance issues, like kids skipping school, or kids staying home or having anxiety attacks, stuff like that. So a lot of my services are from providing therapy, or not providing therapy. We're trying to connect people with therapy, doing like individual check-ins, trying to get people alcohol assessment, stuff like that. So it's a pretty affluent school too, not the most affluent school in the area, but like a lot of people come from money, so we have like an Intel population, Nike, just stuff like that. So it's different because like I talk to my friends who work at Portland proper, and their issues are like fights, drug busts, kids acting out verbally, aggressively, stuff like that. And I really don't have a lot of that in my school, at least not yet, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, it's different, so like a lot of my stuff is like mental health, trying to, help people grasp the moment, mindfulness, because people are stressed out about these grades, trying to get the grades, so I can go to this college, do this, do that. So it's just, it looks a little different,
Gotcha. Yeah, that absolutely. I mean, for me, I work at an elementary school, and working with the kindergarteners, say, man, these kindergarteners they cute. Let's start with the strength. They're cute, they're lovable, they a lot of them give hugs, or you get to know them, you like play with them a little bit, or even something that's racing with them, playing tag or whatever. But they are a handful. Like they don't have that background, or COVID maybe affected them, preventing them from going to a daycare, or if they did, like the daycare wasn't really successful, so they come to a school that's structured, or supposed to be structured, and they wilding out, and they like, I've been cursed at, I've been spat at, like chasing kids in the hallway. They're eloping class, they're eloping the school building, so literally chasing them out the building to get them back in the building. And there's kindergartners, there's a couple of first graders, there's a couple of second graders that wilding out, and it's just been absolutely insane. And then so I cover temporarily 2 schools, and then I go to the other school hoping for a break, and I got 2 other kids that that do the same thing, flipping chairs, flipping tables, and cursing out teachers, punching, kicking teachers. It's just been crazy.
And that's why I didn't want to work at an elementary or middle school, because depending on the school, you would like, at least from my experience, they'll put you like in a behavior classroom and you're like the person, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I've done enough of that. I really want to try to do that, at least right now, you know what I'm saying? So, and I do hear like stories like, like a lot of my contemporaries that work at elementary schools and middle schools, like, the men, those lunch duty stuff, it be going down, they go down, they be chasing kids out, out, just like, I do feel like the pandemic has like, I don't want to say stunted growth, but at least at my school, I feel like we have 2 classes of freshmen, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because we got the 8th graders who weren't in school last year, but they were, they were in school, but they were online. So they were 9th graders. But now we have, actual 9th graders who are coming in, just like, like, what I'm saying? Like, looking lost, stuff like that. And the 8th graders doing the same, or not 8th graders, but the sophomores doing the same thing, saying?
Yeah.
Looking lost, saying? Like, really just like having like a middle school mindset, what I'm saying? Still, but it's like, but you were high school and you were sophomore, so you're really supposed to be ahead, ahead of the game. But,
right.
So, and our juniors is the same way, a little bit. They had 1 year of high school, then they had a year of virtual, then they come back and it's kind of, like, trying to pick up the pieces. So, I mean, we are seeing struggles in that way, what I'm saying? But like I said, what I'm saying earlier, like, our, saying like the way they act out isn't like, aggressive, or isn't like, it's like really avoidance, like we try to get kids to like, like talk about their issues instead of like, just not going to class at all or staying home all day.
Right, absolutely. And avoidance is just a big issue than actually, going to class, or not going to class, or you going to class and you like fighting the teachers, you kicking them or cursing
Right.
out, and like literally like a grown ass adult say cursing you out,
Right.
and then just a little thing is like that's coming out of your mouth. So like, okay, then. So it's
Right. They
no,
do be
but
going hard, don't they? They be going hard.
yeah, go real hard.
For real. So, I mean, so like when you do social work, like how much of it is it like doing like that kind of, direct service rather than, like the, being the person that, has resources, to provide?
So it's interesting because I actually work with another contracted agency that's contracted through the school district. So there's certain things that I'm not really supposed to do, but the school's like, you're kind of doing it anyway, because it's like all hands on deck approach, and it's like,
Right.
and it's like if somebody's absent or whatever, then like we're really kind of like, stuck behind the 8 ball in terms of, dealing with, the certain kids. And it's usually just like a handful of kids that give like the most issues. The school I was in, like, is the biggest elementary school in the district. So we got almost like 700 kids, and out of 700, maybe like 10 give like the hardest issues. So it's like, but those 10 like run amok
Right.
all day at any given time. There was one issue, like the superintendent of the school district came to the school, and like all the kids that been acting up all year, all of them at the same time were acting up. And we like chasing kids, literally like jumping fences from the schoolyard, like, and chasing kids down the side of the school building. So that day was crazy.
Right, for sure.
But like, so literally I got like a handful of kids on my caseload so far, and like I'm just really responsible for them. They kind of have me like in a way like babysitting. So like what I did in terms of intervention was like, okay, you just settle them in because they're already walling out. When they get off the bus, escort them to class, or at least escort them inside the school building to make sure they're in the school building, first of all.
Right.
Then try to like escort them to class, or was doing a lot of play therapy using basketball, and like after everybody leaves the gym, so we'll go in there, shoot some hoops for like 15, 20 minutes just to get some of that energy out so that they could like kind of like wind down enough to get to the classroom, and then like have them like eat breakfast, and then all right, then they could release some more energy when they go to recess. So I was trying to do that, but sometimes they still got all this energy and they jumping around the whole classroom, running in the classroom, like, and my job is pretty much to try to settle them down, almost like a para slash babysitter in a way, and it
Right.
just became like that. And sometimes I'm like in the classroom all the way until their lunchtime, and I'm in the classroom like for like 2 hours, and just to make sure that they're calm and not interacting with the other kids, like punching them and kicking them or like whatever. And then it's already like lunchtime, or there went like 2 hours of my day, and like I'm literally just dealing with one or two kids. But it's kind of like the school's expectation, but and then I'm talking to my supervisor, like I need to be doing more than this. Like it's not no real clinical. Like I try to make it clinical, like try to help the teachers out, like, hey, like practice writing your name. This is how you do it. And like, or like their ABCs, or dancing in class with them, like they doing an ABC song, or learning days of the week, things like that, and try to get them like to participate in the class and try to do the movements like with them too. So it's just been a lot, and trying to mesh things together and instill like I'm like a basketball player when they complain to the coach, like I don't know my role. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
try to define my role in the work, and it's like trying to mesh my company with the school district, what they want to do, and trying to what the schools expectations are, and trying to mesh all that together. It's been a lot so far.
Right. Now, have you noticed that be like a thing like in school social work, like all the times you've been school social workers, or like is this something new? Because I feel like I said, I've never been an official school social worker before, so I
Yeah,
don't
me.
know.
Yeah, me either.
Okay.
Like I did school social work at another school district, but it was like like a district. So I'm going to the school buildings, but just talking
Mhm.
to like during IEP meetings,
Right.
or like any other like school support staff meetings. But they were done on Zoom, or maybe talking to a counselor in person about a child, but not. I was trying to avoid the schools like last year, because we still in a pandemic, and
Right.
I'm trying to stay COVID free in these streets.
I feel you.
So
I feel
so
you.
I was trying to avoid honestly try to avoid kids as much as I can. No, we're now towards the end of the school year, and vaccines are out for the little ones, so feel a little bit more comfortable, at least a little bit interacting for the kid with the kids, and
Mhm.
kids are kids, and I these kids just need love and support. Like if you something simple, like I interacted with a girl, during lunch duty. You mentioned lunch duty. She wasn't listening. Like it was two girls talking, like standing instead of sitting down eating their lunch. They were busy like dancing, doing Fortnite dances, or like I'm like, listen, like I need you to sit down. Like, how about this? I'll do a Fortnite dance with you for 2 seconds as long as you sit down, eat your lunch. Like, all right. So I literally was like, like
Yeah.
she sat down and she ate her lunch, and then we were like cool ever since. So it's like
Right.
little things like that to like kids are gonna be kids. Like our first graders, like they're basically like our kindergartners part two. So being doing Zoom for the most part until this hybrid model. So who knows how that hybrid model went at the school district I'm in now. So it's just been a lot.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned that, it's hard to like explain your role. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to it's hard for me at least anyway. I feel like it's hard for me like to prove worth, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like any like clear, like cut definition of what is exceptional, right? So like
Yeah.
at my last job, I did therapy, right? So I know if I did the therapy, if I did my groups when I'm supposed to do my groups, if I did, my assessments right, if I, like if I checked in when I'm supposed to check in, if I did all these things, I know that I was doing a good job, right? You know what I'm saying? Like school social worker, yeah, it's just it's vague, kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you help when you're supposed to help, but how do you know the help is like appreciated, or like people talk, right? So like
Absolutely.
I can only imagine somebody saying like, well, like saying like I could have did that, or I could do this, or saying like, why is he here if he's not doing X, Y, and Z? So because what I'm seeing is like for like hard hitting stuff like homelessness and like food security, it's hard to get services out here. Like I haven't been able to connect like a family with like a housing service because everybody's booked up. You know what I'm saying? So if I have a counselor, if I have 5 counselors coming to me with 5 houseless kids and I can't do anything for them, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or like, you know, what are they thinking? You know what I'm saying? Or thinking like, well, shit, I could have did that, right? So I don't know. I feel like it is kind of a cluster, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know what I'm not supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not supposed to be in there doing like therapy or like diagnosing and stuff like that. But you know, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just like I would, you know, it's just a lot to like try to, you know, dissect and you know, not be in your own head about am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Because even like, you know, tell you know what I'm saying, like to give you the task of working with these kids. Now, let's say like in February, these kids are still at the same benchmark, you know what I'm saying? Like in theory, what does that say about what you're doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, we know that people don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? Most people know that people don't work
Well, the schools don't work like that either.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So you say, but if you got the, you know, like if you got a principal that's kind of a jerk, he might be like, well, or she might be like, well, you know, we gave you a task and little Johnny didn't really change. So we're gonna have to let you go. So like, you know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that be in my, that's how I think anyway. Maybe I'm traumatized, you know.
and you know, you said a lot there. I know for me, like I know briefly, I only worked like the last 6 months of last school year, and it was like I kept asking myself, what are the schools doing, you know, for these kids? And then I'm inside the school building, and I know there's a couple of kids that should have been like evaluated already, and they weren't, and like all right, and the school should have been like for me like from the jump, like you already know about these kids, how they act, like just get the IEP rolling already, not wait like to like half the school year's already over and things like that. And it's like, all right, like that's above my scope of, well, like that's not even like part of my responsibility. Like I could be in the meeting and provide like recommendations for the kids, but I already let you know already up front what my recommendation was. So if y'all decide not to roll with that, then that shouldn't fall on me. But then, like I know in my school, it's pretty much an all hands on deck approach. So literally, you know, pretty much from car duty, you know, drop off with the kids and open the door and make sure the kids get out with their heavy ass bill bags. And that way, some of them weigh more than them themselves. And walking them inside to the school building to the lunch duty was tough. Like we literally like cleaning tables and chairs, like from 10:30 all the way to like 1 o'clock. And sometimes I was like, I need a break. Like I'm not doing like second grade. Like I'm taking this half-hour break and then come back later, finish lunch duty. Because I remember I was doing lunch duty straight through for like a few weeks, and like every night by like 6 o'clock, I'm already like passed out on my couch, like have dinner and like just passed out. I'm like, then I need to get up. I need to like finish like editing this podcast. Like half asleep, like try to edit this podcast. So but it's been crazy. It's till like dismissal and like helping out with the bus duty and dismissal, and it was just all hands on deck. Like I appreciate like the school like having me on, like, you know, like I said earlier, you know, contracted out, and like they welcomed me with like open arms. But it was just like, okay, this is how we do things, and it was just kind of like thinking to myself, like this might not be for me. I could do this year because I'm under contract, but once the contract is up, like I do like free agency and try something else. 2022, exactly.
I feel you. Yeah, you know,
but also at the same time, like I realized, like, you know, I feel like I'm doing God's work. Like in the school, these kids need all this extra attention and love and support. And unfortunately, from where I'm at, is a lot of like most of them are Black and brown, and it's like, what exactly is going on at home that you come into school like wilding out? And that's something what I was doing at my old job. Yeah, I'm a school social worker, but I was doing home visits. I was able to try to make those connections here. And I'm just in the school from 8 o'clock till 4, and it's like that's the missing piece. Like, what exactly is going on that maybe I could try to help address those other needs, or find out what those needs are and try to address that. And it's not being addressed one way or another, and try to figure out how to address it while working in the school.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's tough for sure.
So you mentioned like housing important. What other issues your city is facing in terms of as it relates to social work?
Man, violence. Man, we got a lot of homicides this year. We done broke a record, you know what I'm saying? That was set I think it was set like 30 years ago, you know what I'm saying, when it was gangs in the streets. So, it's about, like relatively, it's like, it's not a lot. It's about, 80, something like that, you know what I'm saying? But that's a lot for
Mm.
us, you know what I'm saying? Because usually it's like 30, 50, you know what I'm saying? I think the last record was like in the 70s, so a lot of violence, a lot of houselessness. Man, we got mental health stuff going off the chain. Kids
Mm.
need therapy, therapists is booked. Our mental health services is booked, and it's not a lot of like diversity when it comes to that either. And because it's either you are a kid who needs to be hospitalized, you get services that way, or you're a foster kid, or you're a kid in the system, you get services that way. But like if you like just like like a poorer kid who
Mm.
doesn't have any service or like any insurance or like that, like it's hard for you to get services because you're not in the system, what I'm saying, you're just poor. So and I mean, unless you get OHP, then that's different, which Oregon Health Plan, but sometimes Oregon Health Plan be acting stingy, so yeah, it's just a lot of it just feels like it's on fire, you know what I'm saying? The streets is hot. um, you know, um, yeah, people is, we got a big homelessness problem, which is trying to get addressed, but lack of mental health services. We had this mental health hospital that opened up a few years ago that was like to kind of answer to all the community's problems, but it's just kind of it's been like a bad experiment, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just not really helped out like it was supposed to help out.
What attributed to that, you think?
To like it not working out.
Yeah.
Um, People making the hospital who don't know nothing about the real issue, you know what I'm saying? So people on the board, you know what I'm saying, came in their big nice suits, had this big grandiose idea about this is going to help this and that. But mental health is not that easy, you know what I'm saying? You can't just have a person who's psychotic, who's been psychotic for 30 years and say, all right, well, I'll give some groups and then he'll be better. But it's like, no, because that takes a whole lot of treatment.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
especially, you know what I'm saying, like your model of 30 days and then you send them somewhere else and then you don't have nowhere to send them, you don't have nowhere to refer them to, you know what I'm saying? So like your plan, like you come and you get them medicated for 14 days and then you tell them, all right, well, you got to go somewhere else, but then other place you send them ain't ready for that, you know what I'm saying? So so either they take them and it don't work out, or they're like, we don't want to take that kind of clientele, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we need like long term, you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
like hospitalization, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's a thing or not, but long term residential care where somebody who's having those things, could come and just live their life, say, like you said, out that facility until maybe 6 months or a year later. But we don't have a lot of that, you know what I'm saying? Like we have the Oregon State Hospital, which is like for like homicidal, you know what I'm saying, people who are in psychosis, stuff like that. So and that's a dangerous place to work. So a lot of people don't want to work there, you know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yes.
it's dangerous, literally, So yeah, we just got a lot of missing holes, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have a lot of outpatient services. We have a lot of people who do private practice, but private practice is private practice, you know what I'm saying? Like, like that's not community practice. So yeah, it's just a lot of man, like I feel like the world is stressed out and the kids are suffering, because of it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the kids always are like the example of, what I'm saying, like what's going on in the world, right? You know what I'm saying? So if the world is doing okay, then the kids are happy, the kids are good, the kids are thriving. And like especially our poor kids, right? You know what I'm saying? Like poor kids gonna show you, you know what I'm saying, how the world is going, right? I got so many I got friends. Like I said, I got friends, social workers, and man, I asked them how their day went, and man, it sounds totally different from my day. You know, so they day sound like, you know what I'm saying, like it's like it was cracking for like all the way up, like all the way up, right? So you know, it's just a lot of, you know, people are a lot of stress. People are stressed out. The system is tapped. There ain't no resources out here. You know what I'm saying? I you know, like we do at my school have a population of kids that aren't as affluent as, you know, most of them, right? So, you know, and those parents, I try to help them out get services, and they tell me, hey, I already know that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've already did all this. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't tell me nothing different, then, you know what I'm saying, thanks but no thanks. And it's like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's kind of a lapse of what people I work with, you know what I'm saying, like thinking that I have, like, you know, different answers from this woman who's been in the system for, you know,
Yeah,
say 20
exactly.
years, right? You know, say she know how to work the system better than me, you know what I'm saying? So I know,
Exactly.
you know, but they don't know that, or you know, say they're not putting that together, right? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes they put me in positions where like I get like cussed out, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, if you just kind of like, you know, just slow down, not try to problem solve right off the rip, you know what I'm saying? Because you like if you use your, like, you know, just kind of like your street smarts, this woman has been in the system, or this person's been in the system for 20 years. They probably know how to work everything, you know, so just like how I know, you know, saying like just not how
Yeah.
just like how I know how to work everything, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, the city is crazy, man, right now. Like, man, it's like it feels dangerous, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, you know what I'm saying, like when, you know, when I'm out and about and I'm just like cruising around, man, it feels dangerous. We're surrounded by like we're surrounded by rural areas, you know, that are like, you know, super like red, you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, sometimes they creep into the city with their, you know, propaganda flags and, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, it's man, yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel you, and it's almost like the expectation. Okay, you got a LMSW, you got a LC, or just or MSW, and you have the expectations of people who are not social workers or not really in there. It's like, okay, you got these letters, like, okay, come up with the answers. I'm like, sometimes we sway, we don't got the we don't
Yeah,
have the
right.
answers. Like, just because we got the letters is just, you know, I know even like for me, like, you know, I'm still, you know, navigating, you know, Delaware as a state, and like I'm working further south, so, and they do things a little different than up north where I live at. So it's just, I actually learned that there's way more services than Delaware kind of like leads on or people talk about.
Mm.
I'm like, this stuff, like, you guys, like, you need to get some budget money and like get some commercials popping, and like, because people really need to know what you guys are doing or where these services are at. And you know, we talk about mental health. Okay, so what, you know, people need to know, like, I'm working with clients and families, like, they don't know, like up here, and I was struggling to find services in my neighborhood, and coming to find out there really wasn't. I'm sending people either more up north or out south where the services are. Like, my clients didn't even have a car to like get around, so like, how am I going to like send somebody like 45 minutes from the school district? They ain't got no car to get there, or like, but they don't have the means to do telehealth or things like that. So like, okay, I'm kind of like stuck what I'm doing, and then there's no, at least in where I was at, like, there wasn't really like progress notes to really document that. So like, all right, so how, like, I'm like proving my worth if we're not even like a system to document what I'm doing. So
Right.
at least where I'm at now, I'm like now I'm doing double the documentation, one for my company and one for the school, and actually using the school system that I should have had already learned where I was at, but nobody taught me, oh, we don't do this. So like, all right, well, I
Right.
didn't learn it. So I'm like learning all this stuff like on the fly, and then dealing with these kids and their behaviors and try to figure everything out. So it's just been crazy. And then like I'm only like depending where in Philly, I'm like an hour from where like the Sixers play at, you know,
Mhm.
driving like an hour, 10 minutes. So just watching on the news and like all these stations are in Philly. Philly is wilding out. It's just
Right.
violence. They almost hit their like all-time high like for homicides. Like you mentioned, and it's like I feel like I'm like in New York. New York is wilding out. And I see something always on IG now. Following, and it's just insanity. Like I'm glad I moved out, and then like
Hmm.
I'm still like only like an hour away from all the stuff in Philly, and then people drive crazy down here in Delaware. It's like I thought New Yorkers were bad. It's like tailgating and it's just
Oh, for real.
accidents left and right and like really bad accidents. And it's like, why are you? I'm already doing like 75 and like a 55, and it's like you like right on my tail. They like I gotta move because you want to do like 80, 85. Like it's like
Right.
stop
That's wild.
tailgating me.
Yeah. I don't know much about Delaware. That's all. Like, I mean, so like, it's like a big city there.
The biggest city is Wilmington. My town where I'm at, Middletown, is definitely on the rise in terms of population. They just any what used to be farmland is now going to be like brand new housing and
Mhm.
school buildings. So, and then where I work at in Dover, Dover is a pretty big city too. It's kind of has this little affluent area. Definitely has a hood section, and it's just big, and it's just like there's a north part, there's a south part, there's an east, west, and it's kind of like, and then
Mhm.
everybody goes to the same high school, so you have all like you go for all the poor kids to all the affluent kids go to the same high school. There's only like one big high school down there,
Right.
so it's like it's interesting.
Yeah.
You could pretty much do like the whole state in like maybe 2 to 3 hours tops,
Oh
driving down
man.
from one part from the north part all the way down south. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Okay.
small state, and I learned like everybody like kind of know everybody, so I already caught a sense of that. So like I'm
Mhm.
like even like the other day, like I ran into the governor and the lieutenant governor of Delaware. And I had met the lieutenant governor a few weeks ago at a school event. And like she recognized my face, even with the mask on, she still recognized, hey, I
Yeah.
remember you. Like, how you doing? So it's like there's little things like that, obviously you're not for me not used to coming from a big city. Like everybody kind of know everybody or go to the same school, or I still might run into people, but it's definitely not like that in a bigger city compared to down here. So I was told like just watch yourself. Everybody know everybody, and it's just
Right.
people talk like you mentioned before. So it's always got to be like on your p's and q's. But I'm just gonna be myself, whether it be good or bad. Like I'm a figure things out.
Right. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah.
So how was I always ask my guests this question. How was 2020 for Christopher Scott for you as a person? Forget like if you want to throw in the social work thing in, but just you as a person, how was it for you?
Man, 2020 for me was, I can't even lie, it was good. You know what I'm saying? It was good. So I, 2019 was rough.
Okay.
I had this job that I lost, right? And then I went to another job that I thought was like my dream job, and then that job didn't work out. So 2020, well, let me put it like this: 2020, August 2020 to August 2021 was good. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So after I had a job with the juvenile department, or like the state ran, you know what I'm saying, Oregon Youth Authority, right? I was working in their big jail. You know, they have like 9 jails. I was working in their big one, and it was a cool job, but the place was dysfunctional. You know what I'm saying? So going through that and trying to really like figure my stuff out, to try to figure myself out. Because I thought that was my calling. You know what I'm saying? I went to school to get that job. So when I get the job and it's not even the stuff that you expect that sucks. It's like just the system, the racist people in there. And there's like
Hmm.
this new racism, these days that's not like, it's not like bigotry, you know, but it's like minimizing, right? You know what I'm saying? So me and you, let's say you're a white dude, I'm black or person of color, right? You know what I'm saying? And me and you connect, we build, you know what I'm saying? We dap up. But then when it comes to like social issues, like, you know what I'm saying, like, Black Lives Matter, or, you know what I'm saying, like police brutality, you're super like, no, that's not real. You're making it up, all that stuff, right? But you still consider me a friend. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
now how can you even consider myself a friend when you don't even think like something that, like something that affects me, you like downplay so much, you know what I'm saying? So like Joe
Yeah.
Rogan, shit like that. Like I don't like him. People like that, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not really my vibe. I think he's racist, but I won't go there. So I had that job. I left that job. And once I left that job, man, I felt like, working in that intensive outpatient for that year was, man, it really kind of gave me a sense of self again. It let me know that social work was something that I was supposed to be doing. It gave me a challenge of doing like medical social work. And that was like, that was something that I would, something that I took on head on and just kind of, held it down, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was good. You know what I'm saying? Those stimulus checks, you know what I'm saying? I was working,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? So I was able to save those, you know what I'm saying? So man, it was so like I was able to kind of like have some money, because usually, you know what I'm saying, I just wouldn't have money to save, you know what I'm saying? I have a little bit, but not like, a lot, like a lump sum. But between that and refinancing my house twice, you know what I'm saying? And those
Yes.
stimulus checks, I was able to kind of, put some, some figures, but, in the bank account. So, and I'm still doing all right. You know what I'm saying? So 2020, man, spending time with my family, spending time with myself, you know what I'm saying? I was a person that really didn't like to go out anyway, you know what I'm saying? I've kind of grown out of that. So really like, so really like not going out and stuff like that, man, that was kind of played out to me anyway. So yeah, I feel like 2020 was good. You know what I'm saying? It started out rough, but man, once I hit
Yes.
the stride, it clicked. And I was like, I love this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to stay in quarantine forever. Yeah. So yeah. So 2020, man, I can't complain. You know, so I can't
Well,
complain.
you mentioned from August was good, and I know stuff like the spring, besides the pandemic starting, and then Breonna Taylor and George Floyd being murdered. Like how did those murders like affect you at all in any way? And then you try to like navigate that, plus just doing your work or just living your life. Did it bother you
Yeah.
in any way?
It did, just kind of seeing the true side of people. Like I told you, you know what I'm saying, that job I had, people were, you know what I'm saying, you go out, you go drink, you be, oh yeah, what's up, bro, you know what I'm saying? But then when shit get real, they just disregard your whole identity, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of made it, yeah, that kind of had me tight a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I was upset about that. That's why I say, you know what I'm saying, stuff like, like people still playing the fence, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, like, we're all American, like not really, you know what I'm saying? Like we are, like, yes, in the books, yes, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I am an American citizen, but you know, say my view of America, it doesn't look like yours. You know what I'm saying? I don't go to the notion of, you know what I'm saying, of, well, like a few bad cops. Like, because if you got a few bad cops and you got and nobody tells on the cops, then you have all bad cops, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that really was upsetting, you know what I'm saying, for the simple fact that I saw the true sides of people. You know what I'm saying? Some people that I couldn't shake, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I really respected you, you know what I'm saying, as a person, but now it's like, I gotta keep my distance, because for my own self-care, you know what I'm saying? For my
Yeah,
own, you know
absolutely.
what I'm saying, for my own sanity. And people like, just loving, like, like I don't hate guns, but you know what I'm saying? But when you can say, oh well, that's the law. Well, it's like, that's not, you disregard human life over a piece of, over a piece of machinery. To me, that's wild to me, you know what I'm saying? But so yeah, so that was a little rough, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of, navigating that and really seeing just, people be so ignorant, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, my job, like I said, you're saying, I worked at a juvenile jail. And, you know what I'm saying, that, there's one day where the black kids and white kids were about to set it off, you know what I'm saying? It was about to go down. And but luckily, I said we was able to, have them relax a little bit, but it was about to go down for real. So, and yeah, just, yeah, I feel like it made everything like heavy. It made everything deep, you know what I'm saying? And RP to everybody that, you're saying lost their life to racism and police brutality and just crooked systems and just it's biased, you know what I'm saying? Like you lose your life because someone considers you to be more dangerous than you really are, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Someone showed up that was scared or that was, shaking in their boots, and they see a Black person and all they heard was Black people are crazy, Black people are superhuman, and Black people will kill you. So I'm gonna kill you first. And you know what I'm saying? And we ain't even doing nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
right, so yeah, that was the rough part, you know what I'm saying? So for sure. But I'm so used to shit like that I don't even think about that. And that's the fucked up part. Like I don't even like that's not even like something in my mind where I think about, well, how you feeling today? I don't even think about that stuff because it's like, I mean, how many stories do I have? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like and not to sound cold or crass about it, but it's just, I mean, it's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? Like if for me to keep on and keep moving, I can't feel everything. You know what I'm saying? Or I wouldn't do
Yeah.
nothing. So yeah, it's yeah.
No, I totally feel you on that. It just happens so much, and like it's like again, like, and then
Right.
it'll be a story for a day or two, and then like something else happens. Like we had, a president that was like, hold my beard, like he's doing something
Yeah.
every day for 4 years, and like we saw people like you mentioned, seeing people's true colors. We been seeing people's true colors to at least 2015, 2016 when he started running, and then he won, and just people just are like more upfront. Like yes, it's like you mentioned earlier, it's a different kind of racism. People are just more like blunt about it. Just wear a t-shirt and or just wear a red hat and
Right.
that has his catchphrase on it. And I'm gonna be like Whoopi Goldberg and not say his name, but people listening should know who we talking about.
Right.
And just go from there. I even see like people now still like he won, he's the president, and like, or 2024. So I see people with the flags down here. The crazy part, like I mentioned, Wilmington is like the big city, and the train station, the Amtrak train station, is named after Biden. So when the election was happening, they had a table, and it's like half 45 stuff and half Biden stuff for sale in the train station that's named after Biden. I'm like, but this is your state that you grew up in. How you got like,
Right.
and the train station is named after you? How you got like, how you let
Man,
that happen? They got like your competitor
for
got his
sure.
stuff in the train station. So it's like, it's little things like that. And then now like people still got the flags up, the anti-Biden flags or signs along the highway with that's anti-Biden, and he still needs to get it together.
Yeah, he definitely do. You know what I'm saying? He definitely do. But
Because he's doing all these bills, and you mentioned earlier about the lack of resources, lack of housing and stuff. Okay, so he does his build back better crap, whatever bill he signed, or infrastructure, but was the infrastructure about housing for mental health? Where's
right.
an increase in Medicaid so that people could get paid, or outpatient mental health services could provide treatment for individuals that need it? Like where's
Yeah.
the increase in the Medicare spending? So there's
I'm
people
paying them student loans off.
yes, or the $10,000 that you promised,
Right.
that we
No,
want at least 50, but we take the 10. But
take it. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
I mean, you ended the war in Afghanistan. I thought some of that money could be used to pay the loans off.
Right. Man, for sure. But man, brother, I gotta go to another meeting at 9 o'clock. But
Okay. Um. So let people know where they can find you.
oh man, yeah, you can go to hiphopsocialworker.com. You know what I'm saying? That's all my information is there. I'm in the game like Bash. You know what I'm saying I sell merch. I have different side projects, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you go there, hiphopsocialworker.com, You can find my Twitter, my Instagram, my email. Yeah, you can just holler at me. You know what I'm saying? I like to help people navigate the social work career. You know what I'm saying? I like to help people, really just, it's like, especially students, I like to help students, figure their life out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard. It's a hard social work career. You know what I'm saying? But if you really, just kind of plan right, it'll work out for you for sure.
Cool. So these last few seconds, I had to do this just for you. Lakers.
Not even a real championship, but I got you.
It is, man. You act like October, November, December didn't count in 2019, and I know you hate LeBron. So
I don't hate LeBron. I hate the Lakers. Okay, I see you, Bass. So before I leave, I'm gonna say this: if the Lakers is the 2020 championship in the bubble, then Dame is the real MVP of the season. Because he was the bubble MVP.
He could win the MVP. That's all right. I give it to him.
All right, Bass. I see you on Twitter.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Have a good one.